The night my daughter Ava turned her back on me started like any other, quiet, familiar, almost ordinary. I was in my small kitchen, the smell of chamomile tea and baking bread lingering in the air. My hands busy wiping down the counters. I had always found comfort in these small routines, even when the house felt too empty. But at exactly 11:30 p.m., my phone vibrated on the counter, and in that single instant, my world shattered. I picked it up, expecting another ordinary message. Maybe a joke from Ava, maybe a text about her day. But what I saw froze me in place. "Mom, we've decided we need space. Please don't contact us anymore." 7 words. Cold, final. Before we continue, just a small request. Hit the like button if you enjoy emotional stories like this. Tell me in the comments where you're watching from and how you're doing. And don't forget to subscribe so you never miss a new story. Your support truly keeps these stories alive and encourages me to share more. I read the message over and over, my wet hands trembling as I set the phone down on the counter. The apartment, usually a refuge, suddenly felt too small, too quiet, too suffocating. I could feel the years I had poured into my daughter, the hospital visits, late-night school projects, birthdays, holidays, tuition, even helping with her first house. All of it slipping away like sand through my fingers. It wasn't just the words themselves that hurt. It was knowing immediately who really wrote them. Marcus, my son, the man Ava had married 7 years ago. The one who had slowly taken over every decision, every moment, every interaction, until even my daughter's voice no longer sounded like her own. I poured myself a cup of tea, even though I knew sleep would not come. I sat by the window, staring at the quiet street, trying to remember the last time Ava had visited without excuses, without checking her watch every 5 minutes, without letting him speak for her. And then I realized the truth. I had been too blind to see. I wasn't her mother anymore. I wasn't Emma's grandmother anymore. I was just a convenience, a source of money, a means to an end. That night, I made a decision that would change everything. But little did I know, cutting the cord financially was only the beginning of a storm that would reveal secrets far darker than I could have imagined. Next, I would uncover just how far Marcus was willing to go, and how much he had hidden from the family I thought I knew. The following morning, the silence in my apartment was deafening. The world outside carried on as usual. Neighbors walking dogs, the hum of early traffic, children laughing on their way to school. But inside, my life had stopped. I couldn't eat. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't even make myself tidy the dishes I'd left from the night before. Every small sound made me jump. Every vibration of my phone sent my heart racing. And then it buzzed again. "Ava, Mom, you don't have to do that. We can talk." I stared at the words, frozen. Talk. After telling me to stay away. After shutting me out without a reason. Now she wanted conversation. My hands tightened around the cup of tea I hadn't touched. Part of me wanted to respond, to beg, to cry, to scream. But another, colder part, the part that had woken up that night in the kitchen, knew better. I didn't reply. Instead, I began to go through the finances I had kept meticulously for years, bank statements, transfer receipts, the records of every gift, every payment for their house, car, even last-minute emergencies I had covered without complaint. $1,200 a month for the mortgage. $500 a month for the SUV. Over 3 years, I had given nearly $48,000, and that didn't even count gifts, loans, or the countless "just this once" favors that piled up silently. I sat on the floor, papers spread around me like a storm of evidence, and a cold, furious clarity settled in my chest. I had been more than a mother. I had been their banker, their financial safety net, and when I stopped being convenient, they discarded me as easily as tossing a receipt in the trash. Hours passed. The sun moved across the sky. I drank my tea cold, And then, as if to confirm everything I had begun to suspect, I saw its social media posts from 2 nights ago. Ava, Marcus, and Emma, smiling in their perfectly staged lives. Laughing in a restaurant I had never been invited to. Emma's laughter captured in a photograph that should have been mine to see first. And just like that, all the small excuses, the missed visits, the polite reasons for not calling or stopping by, fell into place. Every lie, every omission, every quiet betrayal now had a name: intentional. That night, I didn't cry. I didn't beg. I didn't even curse. I simply made a choice. I would no longer fund a life that didn't want me in it. But what I didn't know yet was that the storm I had just ignited was about to reveal something far more dangerous, a secret Marcus had been hiding, one that threatened not just me, but Ava and little Emma as well. Tomorrow, I would learn the truth about the man my daughter loved, and it would shake everything I thought I knew about my family. The next morning, I woke before sunrise, unable to shake the weight pressing on my chest. Sleep had become a stranger. The house was quiet, the streets empty. Yet my mind raced with everything I had discovered: the cold text, the social media lies, the sudden distance Ava and Marcus had demanded. Something was very wrong, and I could feel it in every fiber of my being. I went to my small study, the one corner of the apartment that had always felt like mine. There, I pulled out a folder I had started months ago: receipts, bank statements, screenshots, every transfer I had made for Ava and Marcus over the years. I ran my fingers over the papers, counting, adding, recalculating. $48,000 in mortgage and car payments alone, gifts, loans, emergencies. Another $12,000 at least. $60,000 spent on a family that had quietly erased me. My phone buzzed again. Another message from Ava. "Mom, please. Marcus says we can fix this." I didn't respond. I didn't even look at it. My decision had been made. If they wanted to pretend this was about misunderstanding or space, that was their choice. But I wasn't going to beg for a place in a life that only wanted my money. Hours later, I met with Rachel, a neighbor who had watched everything unfold from the sidelines. She was cautious at first, glancing around as though anyone might overhear our conversation. Then, quietly, she said the words that made my blood run cold. "Charlotte, I think Marcus is planning something. I saw him moving boxes in the middle of the night, selling items online that I recognized from their house." I froze. Selling their things. Emma's toys, Ava's jewelry, their furniture? And all this while Ava remained unaware. Rachel handed me screenshots from the listings. My hands shook as I scrolled through them. The neat rows of photographs, the price tags, the familiar rooms, all evidence that Marcus was preparing to disappear with more than just their possessions. I sat back, heart pounding. Every warning sign I had ignored for years now slammed into me all at once. He wasn't just taking advantage of me financially. He was planning something bigger, something that could ruin them completely if I didn't act. That night, I didn't sleep. I sat by the window, staring at the quiet street, imagining the life Marcus could destroy if no one stopped him. I knew I had to be careful. Every step had to be deliberate, every move precise. And yet, a single thought kept looping in my mind, cold and sharp. If I was too late, Ava and Emma would pay the price for my trust, and I couldn't let that happen. Tomorrow, I would make a choice that could either save my family or destroy everything I had left. By the next morning, I knew waiting any longer was no longer an option. Marcus's patterns were clear, and Rachel's screenshots had confirmed my worst fears. He was preparing to disappear, taking everything of value with him, and Ava had no idea. Emma, sweet and innocent, could be left in the wake of his plans. I couldn't let that happen. I made the call. The line rang 3 times before a gruff voice answered. "Williams Investigations." Frank speaking. I swallowed hard. My name is Charlotte Morrison. My neighbor gave me your number. I need help. He's planning something. Something dangerous. Frank didn't interrupt, just listened as I explained everything. The cold text. The missed visits. The years of financial support. The screenshots Rachel had sent me. The nighttime listings of their possessions. When I finished, there was a long pause. Mrs. Morrison, he said finally. Based on what you've told me, we may be dealing with financial exploitation, possibly even identity fraud. I need to see every piece of evidence you have. Bank statements, receipts, text messages, everything. I hung up and immediately began organizing. Every single document I could find, printed, photographed, archived, went into neat piles on my dining table. 3 years of payments, loans, gifts, emergencies. $60,000. I ran my hands over the papers, realizing the full weight of it. Every dollar I had spent, every sacrifice I had made, had been manipulated, used as leverage to control me. And now, to control my daughter. By afternoon, Frank had called back. He confirmed he would investigate Marcus immediately. But he warned me, if Marcus suspected we were onto him, he could vanish faster than ever. Timing was critical. I had to be careful even around Ava. She couldn't know everything yet, or Marcus would sense it and accelerate his plan. Sitting in the quiet of my apartment that evening, I felt a cold determination settle over me. For the first time in years, I wasn't just reacting, I was planning. Every step I took from now on had to be precise, calculated, and deliberate. I would gather evidence, buy time, and make sure the law caught up to him before he could destroy Ava and Emma. And yet, even as I spread the papers across my dining table, my mind drifted to Emma, her tiny hands, her bright smile. The way she ran to hug me whenever she saw me. How could I protect her from the man she trusted, without breaking her heart in the process? That night, I didn't sleep. I lay awake, watching the streetlights shimmer across the pavement, thinking about Marcus, thinking about Ava, and thinking about the moment when all the truths I had uncovered would finally collide. Tomorrow, I would take the first step in turning the tables, but little did I know, the next move would bring me face to face with a secret so shocking. It would change everything I thought I knew about my daughter's life. The morning sun spilled across the quiet street, but inside, my heart raced like a drum. Today, everything would change. Every lie Marcus had told, every deception, every stolen dollar, every stolen moment with Ava and Emma, it was all about to come to light. I clutched the small stuffed elephant for Emma, the gift I had picked out the day before, and took a deep breath. At exactly 8:55 a.m., I rang the doorbell. Marcus answered first, smiling as if nothing had happened, car keys in hand. "Charlotte, you're early," he said. Ava appeared behind him, hesitant, unsure. Emma ran into my arms, laughing, and I hugged her tightly, feeling the fragile thread of love that Marcus had tried to control slipping safely into my hands. Dinner was calm, deceptively ordinary. Marcus spoke about the past payments casually, trying to convince me, and perhaps himself, that he had done nothing wrong. I smiled, nodded, poured wine, and said everything a careful grandmother would say, all while the tiny recording device captured every word. He had no idea he was already trapped. At precisely 9 a.m., Detective Santos and 2 uniformed officers stepped into the house, their presence quiet but unmistakable. "Kyle Brennan," she said, her voice crisp and firm. "You are under arrest for identity theft, fraud, and conspiracy to commit grand theft." Marcus froze. His smile faltered. "There's been a mistake. My name is Marcus Reed." "No," Santos said, holding up a folder. "We have your fingerprints, your aliases, and evidence of financial fraud. You are being charged for actions affecting multiple families over the past 15 years. Your deception ends today." Ava's face went pale. She stepped back, clutching Emma, confusion and fear written across her features. "What? What is happening?" she whispered. I reached for her hand. "Ava, it's the truth about him. All the lies, the money, the control. It was never about us. It was about him." Emma's tiny hand gripped mine, and for the first time in weeks, I felt hope. Marcus, or Kyle, struggled against the officers, shouting denials, blaming me, blaming everyone, but it was too late. The evidence was clear, undeniable. As the officers led him out, Ava sank to the couch, burying her face in her hands, tears streaming. I sat beside her, holding Emma, letting her sob, letting her understand the truth without words. It would take time for Ava to heal, to forgive, to trust again, but one thing was certain: the nightmare was over, and we were finally free. And even though the road ahead would be long and painful, I knew I would be there for them no matter what, always. If this story touched your heart, tell me in the comments, what city are you watching from? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this story so more people remember. No matter how old you are, it's never too late to stand up for yourself.